Good day, everybody, wherever you are. Today, I'm doing this. Let's see, today it's December the 1st. I'm fighting a cold and cough, a seasonal allergies, I suppose, and a little uncomfortable. My voice doesn't feel the same, but let me see if I can do this without any interruption. Anyways, I'm doing this upon the request of someone by the name Rabino Fernando. Uh, he had apparently watched my review on Sura Potru last time, and he quite obviously he had liked it so much, and he had made this request. Sir, can you please review Karthi Star Theeran Adhigaaram 1? It's an old movie. I remember watching that like 5 or 6 years ago. Didn't make a strong impact on my mind. So and I'm not too particular about doing movie reviews, but I like to talk about different things that impacts my mind, world events and so on. But sometimes I don't want to get into trouble trying to I generally speak my I don't mince my words. I tend to say it. My mouth usually speaks what my mind says. Sometimes uh, compromising on astuteness and not being circumspect gets me into unwanted trouble. So I'm trying not to not to say anything about things that I find inappropriate, unfair, and not only not only just unfair, goes against human conscience. So it bothers me. I feel like I want to go on a public portal like YouTube and talk about it. And then yes, sometimes I had to restrain myself. Just I guess. For fear of consequences. So that's it. That's all a digression. So this movie is about it's a police drama by Surya's brother Karthi. Both these they're all brothers. They're from one family. The father was one time South Indian in South Indian movies, but he was not as uh, big as these two guys. These two guys have really uh, claimed their rightful place. God bless them. Uh, and now Surya's movie Jai Bhim is uh, acclaimed to be the number one in Amazon or whatever, rightfully so. And it's very heartening to see uh, a good movie is being recognized and claiming its rightful place, and so makes it restores my faith in that South Indian cinema, so to speak, compared to the load of crap they make and the the quality of the movies. I mean, technically, yeah, they are quite advanced, but otherwise, the substance uh, almost zero. Right, that's my take on the movies. But Rabino Fernando, this person, I have to. He had made this request in uh, and I'm trying to comply with his request. So what's this movie about? It's about it's like I said, it's police drama, and said to be based off real life incidents. A police officer who was really involved in this in this story is still around. Both Karthi and Surya on the I guess on the first day of this movie, that police officer, the real life hero uh, of the of this of these police drama, was also present watching the movie. Obviously, he was he had I guess. he commended the movie, uh, and so there's a picture of both these stars, Surya and Karthi, with this police officer. I think I should show it to you. It it'll it it lent some credibility to this movie. The movie has some kind of anecdotal uh, history, uh, and it's about. They say this happened back in the 16th century when the Mughal kings. I mean, Mughals, as you know, they came from the Afghan region, Afghanistan, and so on, and they brought Islam to the subcontinent. And to cut to the chase, the Rajput kings they waged war with the invading Mughal kings, and as it transpired, the the Rajputs kings, the Indian kings had, and there was uh, a group known as Havaris. I mean, this is recited by the protagonist in the movie. I didn't do all this research, and so it is. The Havaris were said to be the guerrilla fighters of the Rajput kings, and during the 16th century. So when they went to the war front, just before going to the war front, they carry out the ritual praying to the gods for their victory. And what they do is, in in the ancient days, they do human sacrifice, usually a good warrior. The greater the warrior who is sacrificed, this is ancient Mahabharata times, they believed the victory is assured. But later, they could not do human sacrifice. They slowly became little more, I won't say civilized, but they were still cruel, uh, or even worse, they began to sacrifice helpless animals, defenseless, helpless. So I don't mind if they are real heroes. They go to the forest and unarmed, no weapons. If they fight with a lion or a tiger, unarmed, bare hands, and kill the animal and bring, that's heroic. Not heroic. I mean, you can consider it an exploit. A human being going against a real ferocious animal with no arms, no weapons, and taking down the animal. Yeah, can be considered an exploit. But then they sacrifice the helpless, harmless animals. They sacrifice goats and cows. The cow that was sacrificed in this ritual, and the Rajput kings apparently went to war, waged war with the Mughals, and they lost the battle. They lost the war. There's a difference between a war and a battle. Most people do not know. You fight a battle, you don't fight a war. War is a bigger scale. You wage war. Most people who, even native speakers, do not know the difference. Sometimes even newspapers write, they came to fight a war. That's wrong. I've seen that. Right. Anyway, that said, so they lost the war, the Rajput kings. So it was attributed to these Havaris, the guerrilla fighters of Rajput, uh, sacrificing a cow. The cow was sacrificed, brought about bad luck. The cow in India is a holy animal. Of course, it's rightful thinking in my view, because if an animal that nurturing the mankind, no matter which part of the world, it's nurturing the mankind. without you don't drink even a cup of coffee without tea without the cow's milk. And you don't with the cow's milk you can wean and uh, you can a baby can be uh, an infant, a baby newborn without a mother's milk can be weaned with a cow's milk. Animal that's so there's nothing it's the animal should be considered. There's nothing wrong considering the animal holy, whether you are Indian or otherwise, because it's nurturing humankind. You don't go drink a lion's milk or I mean, you won't go near. That's a different subject. But you won't go like why of all animal it's the cow's milk. The whole world is dependent on cow's milk, right? So and it's a totally harmless animal. Uh, so do not uh, people who eat the beef. That's a whole different thing. I don't. I never. And now today I've turned complete vegetarian. That's another thing. But then coming back to this whole movie, uh, yes. So these Havaris because they sacrificed the cow and believed to this is anecdote, and that brought about the Rajput defeat in the hands of Mughal kings. These Havaris were condemned and kicked out or exiled to the forest, banished to the jungles. That said, they were they lived in the forest and made the dense jungles their home, and they had to survive. So they became ruthless and cruel, and they had to survive. So they began to prey on wild animals and came into the village and pillaged the village too, and that's how they lived. And in 90s it said the Indian government brought about the laws that people cannot go on hunting wild animals by law. They were prohibited. So that said, these people, this as the anecdote goes, these people they were ostracized. They were in the forest. They turned into robbers. Uh, the dacoits, as they saw. The term dacoit, Dacoit, is not widely used in this part of the world, both North America. Uh, I don't know if it's very widely used in England, but the term itself means a bandit. But dacoit, used widely, not widely. It's a term used in India and Myanmar. Uh, the erstwhile Burma, today it's Myanmar. So, I mean, the bandits who lived there were called the dacoits, right? And that said, these dacoits in the 90s, after Indian government passed laws against hunting, they came into the village and they were they were robbers, violent robbers. For no reason they would ruthlessly kill people with iron rods and guns and bullets, and rob their money, wealth, I mean money, gold, jewelry, whatever, and take off to. And they were all from Rajasthan and all this desert region, Rajasthan and Punjab and Haryana, places like. So anyway, what happened? So our hero Karthi comes out of police school, number one student, top student, and he stumbles on one of these cases that remains unsolved. It's about the dacoits or the bandits, as I would like to call, who are causing so much problem. And he goes after them. And what happens uh, in the aftermath of his pursuit? What happens in his personal life? I mean, in the movie, is forms the rest of the movie. And yeah, Karthi is the I mean, cutting to the chase. This is getting long. In the end, I mean, the movie is well done. It's based on, but the parts that I didn't appeal to me, uh, you know, unnecessary, like the fight, not unnecessary. It's the fight sequences are there, and I won't say it's an unnecessary inclusion, but it just some of the scenes, the stunts and everything looks too cinematic. I know, on top of a bus and fighting and you know, yeah, I know. I mean, you can't expect 100% reality on screen, but again, there's a balance that did not appeal to me much. And then the first 30 about 35 minutes, the heroine, the female lead, the young woman, I've seen her in other movies. I don't remember, I don't know her name. uh, and I think she even acted with Surya. But the romance quotient, he just didn't appeal to me greatly, and I found it a little bit of a turn off. The reason being, they could have shown him as a newly married guy without all, but they were trying to pander to the audience who want a little bit of romance, a little bit of song and dance. That's Indian audience. Who am I to criticize them? All right, and the movie makers have to cover a wide range of audience. So, but that inclusion, the first 35 minutes was a lag and a turn off to me, and a lot of other people would agree with me on that. And in the end, the case is, with all the heroic exploits on the screen, uh, the gang is being finally uh, hunted down by the protagonist Karthi. And guess what? In the movie, they're 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 touching on how corrupt the police department. What's new, especially Indian police, you know, and and uh, and the politicians. What do the politicians do? Yeah, I mean, they are they are for a period 4 years, 5 years, and if they get re-elected, fine. And the ones who want to make money within their and anything to dupe the people and influence their mind, uh, and I mean, robbing the society, people's money. That's politicians, right? And so those aspects are being touched upon. How the a young overzealous police officer who wants to do justice to the job and be do the right thing for his department, how he is being cornered and harassed by his superior, his senior officers, how he is being scoffed and scorned. All that is being shown. The corruption is being shown, and the protagonist Karthi, regardless, he goes after his uh, the protagonist usually is, you never show protagonist as a bad corrupt person. Protagonist is always a good person. So in the end, yes, he wins his fight. And uh, and there's a line that in the end he's consigned, they're showing me in the process he loses his wife too. And So it becomes a personal, too personal to him. Now it's the personal vendetta against the robbers, or the bandits, or the dacoits coming from north. And they are also showing the differences, the regional differences, how it's this how difficult for the southerners, especially the Tamil Nadu, to go there. And because it's just, I guess, the country is like every country, the majority trying to rule the minority, not recognizing the minority rights. And so that's everywhere, wherever that prevailed. It doesn't end up too well, be it Europe, anywhere. Uh, what other countries you can think of? You can think of Czechoslovakia. Now it's Czech Republic and Slovakia, and you can think of Cyprus. You can think of Spain. It's not publicized. In the Catalans are fighting for their autonomy, or and the Spanish government is, it's not. The media doesn't it doesn't come to the, it just not uh, the media, unless the media brings it out, nobody knows. Nobody's going to go read up on different things and do their research. Whatever media says, people go by the media. Sometimes it's totally, what media says is far from the truth, but that's what people believe. So India, 29 states, as I understand, Hindi is the official language. It imposed on all the other non-Hindi speaking regions, and South India, Tamil Nadu is just the politicians are uh, for their own gain. They are playing along with the central government or the federal government, but there is a lot of grievances, resentment, and uh, among the people, how they are being oppressed, and the language is being forced upon them. So that's, and I just, you can see it in the movie when these the police team from Tamil Nadu goes to north, and what they are going through, all that is can be seen. In the end, movie ends, and the honest police officer who was not just brave, he was driven by his zeal and zest, and accomplished, sacrificing his own family, his wife, and his pregnant wife, comes back, and is not recognized, and he's being because he's too honest, he's being consigned to uh, sort of a backwater uh, police office, more like they say it's the dummy post, and consigned to a kind of a rustic rural area police office, where he's pushing the pencil while doing office work. And the other person is someone is coming to see him. Oh, he's a hero, and he has, I have heard so much. Another young police recruit, I want to see him. And this the hero is now in his mid 40s or late 40s, completely beaten up, a little bit of gray hair, and just going down the stairs, almost like a very unspirited, very defeated soul. And the young cop asks the other person, "What happened to him? He's the hero I wanted to see, the police hero." He says, "This is what they do to real heroes in police department. Is it the fault of the police department, or the fault of the ruling establishment under which the police department functions, or is it the fault of the common man who he, who votes for these corrupt politicians into power?" So these questions were being uh, raised by in the towards the conclusion of the movie. Overall, I don't know whether what I I just gave it to you the way I saw it. Uh, it's a great movie, but they could have made it even more realistic. And instead of the first 35 minutes, you know, could have been, that could have been eliminated, meaning the romance quotient. He's young family guy married to young woman. You know, unnecessary song sequence can be eliminated, and even the stunt sequences, without making it too cinematic, could have been made far more realistic, uh, and it would have enhanced the quality of the movie. That's my review. Holy moly, this is 25 minutes. I wish I could do it in 10 minutes.